a stabilizer on
I didn't bring nothing with me to hold it with.
it. What's that say, Mommy?
What's what say?
Wallback, Clay, 2 miles. Exit 34.
I forget where that mic is. I know they don't involve it on the top, so that's what I'm holding.
Yeah. Right there's the wallback sign. 1 mile.
I'm going to try to film some of the roads that my dad built way back in the early 1900s. I tried this before, it didn't work. I'm going to try it again. My dad built all the roads, the first roads in Clay County. Every road in Clay County he built. You know what the mic is on?
That's right up here by your fingers.
On top?
You don't think so?
Down there.
Right it down there?
Yeah.
Okay. By your phone, man. Alright, we're getting off here at Wallback. Alright, so your dad owned a company.
Now, my dad owned the company that built these roads. This road right here that we're approaching, it wasn't one of the first roads, but this is one of them. It probably owned the same contract.
W.C. Markle.
W.C. Markle. Everybody called him Claude. Now, right here's the road starting right here that he built to Roane County line. Now, he built this road we're traveling on.
It's a little curvy.
There are a lot of curves in these roads. These are the early roads. And when Dad built the roads, he said a day would come, they'd have to widen the roads because we'd have bigger vehicles. People laughed at him. He knew what was coming. He could see that far ahead. So they had went through all these roads and had 2-3 feet on each side.
He wanted to make them wider, but he couldn't get the contracts because he'd be underbid.
Yeah. Yeah, he tried to, he couldn't put the wide roads in because they wouldn't have, he never got to build any roads because somebody done bid him all the time.
They didn't want to build for the future, they just wanted to build for, you know, the right now. It's just the way it is. But tell the story why some of these roads.
Well, one reason they're curvy is because of the hills. Now, another reason they're curvy, back in those days, people built roads and things of that sort, cared about what the people thought. So if an old farmer come out and say, well, Claude, can't you take that road around that way a little bit and not go right through my property? So Dad would just swing around it. Well, the next time I asked him the same thing, and he just swing around it. So he ended up being pretty curvy. That's the way they built roads back then. Well, he couldn't always do it, but if he could, he'd help whoever would ask him to not come right through the property. He tried to go around it. That was part of it, but part of it just natural had to be because of the
Train.
maybe that's just the way it was.
Yeah.
And Dad laid out this road himself the way he wanted it, but he had a surveyor that put the markers up. So all he had to do was go through and go through them. But he was more important the direction he wanted to go. He knew exactly how he wanted to do it.
When your dad brought in the first truck in Clay County, and
He brought in the first Marion steam shovel.
steam shovel too.
The Marion steam shovel. That was the first one in Clay County, and he brought the first dump truck into Clay County. And well, he didn't drive it in. At least a man named Lee Sizemore drove it in.
How many years ago was that?
About between 1912 and 1920. That's when these roads was built. A little boy that was a water boy on his job grew up to be a roadman, and after my dad got like up in 70 years old, he worked for him. And he said, "You don't have to do anything, just stand with your hands in your pocket." But he knew Dad wasn't going to stand with his hands in his pocket. But Dad worked about 3 or 4 years for him after he got old.
A lot of good workers back in, hard workers. The way of life. Your dad built a car too, didn't he, when he was 16?
No, I don't remember how old he was, but he built a car. And his brother-in-law kept on coming to visit and running down the road. He was afraid he was going to get killed, and he took it apart. But I think Henry Ford was already building one at that time. They might not know anything about it. Might not having no newspapers or anything in that area. They didn't have something like that.
Well, your dad was well read.
Well, when Dad went to school, he wasn't by himself. Everybody was in the same boat. You just went to the 5th grade, as far as you went. And if you went to the 5th grade, you studied those old McGuffey readers. They probably knew more in the 5th grade than you would now when you finish high school.
Yeah,
because they really taught them things back then. They wasn't so much nonsense. But he went back when he was 21 years old and went 2 years of school to a man named Eustace Murphy, so he could get his more education. So he did do that. But everybody could get a teacher certificate if they finished the 5th grade. And one lady did get her a teacher certificate. I don't know if she ever taught or not, but she got her certificate so she could. Like I said, back then 5th grade was a pretty good education. A lot of smart men come out of those little schools, and they did plenty of things. My dad for one of them.
He did. He had a job in local government. He served.
Yeah, he's president of county court. 1 term, 2 terms. He was elected the 2nd term, and he got a call to go to Boulder Dam to help move that. They needed a tunnel man. They heard Dad was good at building tunnels, and so.
How long was he out there?
2 years. He worked 2 years on Boulder Dam. It's Hoover Dam now. Also, he went to Alaska and worked 2 years on that Alaskan Railroad from Fairbanks to Amsterdam, or Fairbanks to someplace, Amsterdam.
We had a charter at one time from, was it the Tsar of Russia, where
Well, they got
bought the land. And,
They had to get permission from Russia to build the Alaskan Railroad. It belonged to Russia at that time.
yeah.
I think it's Amsterdam to Fairbanks. Well, Fairbanks to someplace. I might have forgot the other name. I believe it was Amsterdam.
Worked on Death Valley.
He worked out in Death Valley. I'm telling you about all those things he done. Besides the roads in West Virginia, he built roads all over the place. He built one in. He worked. Now he didn't own his company when he worked in Death Valley. He worked for somebody else, but he helped build a road in Death Valley, Nevada. And he also worked on roads in Montana. But he done other things too back when he was young. He cut timber. He done a lot of things. Here's the worst hill he ever made. Is this one right here?
This curvy one.
I don't like this one at all. It's steep and curvy.
How many men lived in your dad's home when he had the company?
Well, Dad built a house, a long, one-story long house, had a hall in the middle of it, and there was 60 men stayed in there while he was building a road past our house. We were there for about 2 months. There were 60 men, and of course they had to move on down the road. And my mother had 2 women.